watching today were with us yesterday, and this location, if you were with us, is the same location that the leopard was. Karula, a really famous leopard that we sat with, and her cubs were with her as well. Now, she had some food for her youngsters. She had an impala, which you just saw with James, that we have to understand that this is a wild, wild place, everyone. And you know what, if you haven't done food chains yet, or you're not at that stage at school, then maybe the teachers could explain a little bit about that to you. But if you have done food chains, you'll know that the carnivores, what we call the apex predators, the ones that are at the top of the mountain, the top of the food chain, right at the top, are the carnivores, the lions, the leopards, the hyenas, the cheetahs, and things like that over here. So really important to understand how that works all the way down. There's a hyena. Do you want to see something else? We've got a question from Adelpho in Redlands Junior School. How long do the cubs stay with the mother and father for? Well, it depends, you know, there's a lot of different stories, but about 18 months to about 2 years, they'll be sort of kicking around with the parent. But then she'll start to push them away, particularly, this is in what we're talking about with leopards. So the cubs at the moment with Karula are 7 months old. They were born on the 2nd of February here. So we've got a hyena over here because we knew that he was going to smell that food over the next couple of days, and he will come, or she will come. Very hard to tell males and females apart in hyena. Beautiful, beautiful animal, and I really want to tell you kids, really important to understand that these animals are as beautiful as all the other animals around. They fit into the ecosystem very importantly. They are really, really interesting animals. They're not quite dogs and they're not quite cats. They fit into this middle sort of ground. They're more like cats than they are dogs. Now the females are in charge, and the females are much, much bigger than the males. The females, they have what's called a communal den, so there might be different females in that den, and when they have cubs, the males don't spend any time around there and are not really allowed anywhere close to the den when they've got cubs. So they're really fantastic animals, very, very interesting as well. And you have to understand that, you know, all the stories you may have heard about hyenas, I want you to put them to the side and walk away from Safari Live this morning knowing that you're looking at a beautiful, wonderful, wonderful creature, the spotted hyena, who fits into the ecosystem very, very well in Africa. Now, you might want to do a project at school and do a little bit more work on that and have a look at all the apex predators, or all the top carnivores in Africa, and have a little look about what's important about them and where they fit in. Now, Gendre and I got very excited a second ago because we thought, we can't find the leopard. We can't find the leopards anywhere. Can anyone see anything in this picture? A tree trunk. Have a close look at this. Can anyone see it? First school to email us, I'll give you an extra special shout out. Anyone see anything in there? Uh-oh, what's that? I can see a few spots. I can see a few spots in there. There is a leopard sitting right there. See those spots? There's a leopard. That is Karula. She's hiding up in that tree because leopards and hyena don't get on very well, that's for sure. Both big carnivores, and what happens is once the leopard has a kill, they normally will hoist it up that tree to get it away from other predators like lion and hyena, and that's the advantage that the leopard has. They are the most incredible climbing cat. They can do things that no other cats can do, and they will drag that food up into that tree. So you've got in that same picture there that Gendre's got, we've got the leopard in that tree, and we've got the hyena waiting down there to try and get any little bits of food that she drops. And she would have put her cubs somewhere very, very safe, and they'll be well out of harm's way. So whilst we're sitting here watching this hyena and see what happens, we're going to cross over to another very, very special member of our team, Brent Leo Smith, who is actually walking in the African bush, and we're sending you these signals live from Africa. It's so good to have you on board, kids. Can't wait to come back to you. Let's go and see what Brent's up to. In Hassel Grove Public School, and just wanted to know, I'm sorry, I missed the tail end of that question, Brody. Just let me ask for it again. Brody, I'm not really sure how old this hyena is, but if we look down there, it's an adult, and it could probably be 3, 4, 5 years old, maybe, Brody. It's got a bit of a limp, actually, so we're not sure what's happened, because overnight anything could have happened between these animals. They are fierce enemies, but it sounds a bit harsh, but it is the way of the African bush, and the hyena is right underneath this leopard at the moment. We've got a question from Connor in Tyala Public School. And Tyala, you're a great school, great to have you on board. And Connor, you want to know what hyenas eat. Well, hyenas are what we call opportunistic. They will take anything they possibly can from another predator, but they also are fierce hunters. They're very, very successful hunters, and when they can or when they need to, they'll hunt, but they've got an incredibly keen sense of smell, and they will try and steal a kill from another animal without question. So they will patiently wait underneath there, and sometimes they go to sleep, and that's a really incredible thing to see, that leopard sitting in the tree there, and right underneath, directly underneath, is the hyena, and the hyena is waiting for any food that falls out of that tree from that leopard. So, Connor, just to answer your question again, anything they possibly can, and they will eat old bones. They've got the ability to crunch through bones like no other animal. And I have to tell you something else is interesting. Their poo is really, really white. They have lots and lots of calcium from the bones in their poo, and we can see that very obviously. And if I find some, I'll grab some for you. Harrison from Redlands Junior School, great to have you on board, mate. Really great. It's just around the corner from where I live in Sydney. It's great to have you. How do leopards catch their food? Well, the leopard is the absolute superstar, the Olympian of catching its food, and they are the quietest of the cats. They stalk. We call them the Prince of Stealth. They stalk like a ninja, and they get so close to their prey, and then they get so close that the prey or the animal that they're going to catch cannot escape. They eat all different types of things, and from little tiny lizards up to all like baby giraffes sometimes. So they've got to eat. They've got cubs as well, and it's all part of the food chain. Thanks so much, mate. Got a question from Jake in Marulan Public School. And want to know how long leopards live for. Well, some of the books say up to about 15, and then I've read some of the other books that say up to about 20. Jake, it really does depend on where they are and how much pressure they've got from other animals. Sometimes they can be lucky, Jake, as well. They can have a really good long lifespan because there's not a lot of other predators in their area. Or sometimes they might have a fight with another animal or another leopard for that matter and get an injury. Remember, there's no vets out here in the wild. Nature takes its own course here, and if an animal does get an injury, sometimes it can heal and other times it can't, but normally 15 to 20 years if they're lucky. Riley from Hassel Grove, great to have you on board as well. Fantastic to see that you're watching, guys. It's a great question, Riley, about how old is this leopard. Well, we don't often know how old our leopards are, but this particular leopard, this is Karula, and she's known as the Queen of Djuma. She's a very famous leopard, and she's a beautiful, beautiful leopard, and we know when she was born. She's 12 years old. So she's getting towards the end of her breeding, being able to be a mum around 12 to 15. So she's 12 years old, and she's an incredible, incredible cat. We're very lucky to be with her, and I'm so excited to be able to show you a wild leopard. Hunter from Redlands again. Brilliant question. How old is a leopard when it learns to climb a tree? Well, Gendre and I were here yesterday, and we went to leopard school yesterday. It was brilliant. Karula took that food up into that tree for her cubs to teach them how to get up there and feed. And that was at about, they're 7 months old at the moment. But Gendre, I can ask Gendre the question actually. When was the first time you saw these cubs maybe start to climb? When they're about 2 months? So Gendre's been here for a lot, he works here all the time, and Gendre just said the first time he saw the leopards start to climb a tree was about 2 months. So they'll start to experiment, just like us as kids. We'll start to climb things in the playground or trees or whatever, and the leopards start to experiment like that as well. But we saw the leopards yesterday at 7 months old go up that tree really, really quickly. So great question, mate. Thanks so much for watching. So you might hear another vehicle arriving, kids, and that vehicle is another game drive vehicle out looking for wonderful animals as well. Ruby from Camaret Public School, fantastic to have you again, just around the corner from my place, Ruby. Really love to have your whole school with us today. Ruby, you want to know whether hyenas use termite mounds? I think that's what the question is. Just let me double check what that question is again. Yeah, great, Ruby. It is. I wasn't sure if I heard it correctly, just when that other vehicle pulled up. Ruby, they do use termite mounds to make as dens to have their cubs. And you know what? There's another animal, and maybe you guys could have a look online, or you could have a look in some books with your teacher and look up an aardvark. Aardvark is a fantastic animal that we don't see very often, and aardvarks dig holes in termite mounds and make their dens, and then after they move locations or move to another house, other animals take over their spot, and you might get warthogs moving in, you might get hyenas moving in, you might get African wild dog moving in to have their pups, and sometimes they do renovations just like we do on our houses, and they make them bigger, they make them different, and leopard will definitely also use them sometimes as well. Great question, Ruby. Thank you so much. We've got a great question from Miss Morrison, from Carlton Public School. Welcome aboard, and hats off to you, teacher. So, ma'am, you've got these guys watching us live this morning, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Miss Morrison. And really, really hats off to all the teachers again. You want to know whether hyenas use their spots as camouflage, and if they really do laugh like you see in movies and things. The vocalization of the hyena definitely does sound a little bit like a laugh, and it does get quite frantic sometimes when it's a real social thing. There's lots of different types of vocalizations they use to communicate. So it does sound a little bit like a laugh, and that's why sometimes they do get that laughing hyena name called to them. But spotted hyena is their correct name, and the spots would definitely give them camouflage. Sometimes it's really hard to see a hyena moving through the bush, or even if you're just sitting there and they're lying flat, they're very, very difficult to see. So yeah, thank you very, very much, Miss Morrison, for coming on board and bringing your kids. So what we're going to do now is, whilst we're staying with this spotted hyena and Karula the leopard, we're going to link over to James and see what he's up to. But fantastic questions, kids and teachers. Keep them coming through. We'll come right back to you just now. That's a good sign, just to know that there's going to be some interesting things happening here over the next few hours. The hyenas are incredibly patient creatures, and they will just wait until the opportunity is right, and if any of that food falls down, they will be taking it. We've got a question from Tanita in Hayes Park School. Thank you so much for watching, guys. It's really cool to have you on board. Live from Africa. Do you believe that? You're watching this live in your classroom. We're answering your questions. You want to know if there's any endangered animals here. There's lots and lots of different endangered animals here in Africa. But in our particular area, we're in a protected area here, so there's a very good lion population, leopard population. There's great elephant populations and other animals, but there's not a lot that I can mention here because it's such a beautiful protected area. But outside, sometimes that does happen, and that might happen in any environment or any country where you've got a lot of pressure on an area from human population or habitat loss. That's one of the biggest things as well, Tanita. So maybe you guys could do a project at school and try and figure out what animals in your local area, Australian animals, might be endangered, and then have a look on the other side of the world and maybe compare it to another country and just learn a little bit about endangered animals. We're very lucky to be in a protected area here. So one of the things I just want to say to you is any ideas that you get from this Safari Live broadcast, maybe go out and have a look, do a project on all the predators in Africa, all the predators in the world, predators in Africa and predators in Australia, anything you want, but something really cute that I want to show you. Have a look at this. That is a leopard cub, and he is asleep. And he's just staying well away from that hyena, that's for sure. And he's quick enough now to be able to get up that tree very quickly. He's got a super keen sense here of hearing, and he'll be definitely on his toes. He'd go right up that tree if that hyena came anywhere near. So his mum is up the tree over the other side, and he is just lying down there. But he might look like he's asleep and sound asleep if that leopard was even to tread on a leaf. I'm sorry, that hyena was to tread on a leaf, he would be straight up that tree. So they're at an age now where they can escape predators, but I have to say, got to be very careful because hyenas are very dangerous for leopards. But at the same time, they are a very important predator, and I really want you all to walk away from Safari Live today knowing that hyenas play a very special place. Got a question from Caleb in Hassel Grove Public School. Great to have you on board, guys. Really wonderful to be able to talk to you live from Africa. And how many cubs are in a litter? It's normally 1 to 3. There's not much more than that. And to have successful 2 cubs survive all the way through is incredible. Karula is an amazing mother, and she's been a successful mother with a lot of cubs. So 1 to 3 is the number. We've got a question from Packy in John Palmer Public School, and you want to know where do leopards find protection when it comes to the rain? Well, you know what? A lot of animals actually cope with the rain a lot better than we do. We're a bit soft, us humans. We get out of it, we put our jackets on and our umbrellas. But you know what? Animals cope with the rain in extreme weather, so really bad weather, they might find a little bit of shelter up under a little ledge in a dry creek bed or something like that, or in a bush. And I have to say, cats don't really love it. You see them, they're sitting there a little, looking a bit sorry for themselves with the rain pelting on them, particularly lions, you see that. So they will try and find a bit of shelter, but sometimes in open areas they don't have a choice, so they'll just have to cope with it. They're pretty tough animals, a lot tougher than we are, that's for sure. So one of the other things, whilst we're looking at this beautiful cub, I just want to ask you a little bit to try and follow on from Safari Live today and try and come up with some project ideas with your teachers. Try and come up with some ideas. If you get stuck for any ideas, you can go onto the Taronga Zoo website. You can contact the Taronga Zoo Education Department as well, and we can give you loads of ideas, because even though we're in Africa and we're talking to you about all these beautiful animals here, you've got just as beautiful animals in your home country as well, and you might be watching from somewhere else in the world, but I'm just talking at the minute to the Australian schools that are watching. Have a look at the animals that are around your area and the animals that really need to have a little bit more help in Australia. One of the animals that we really do champion at Taronga Zoo is the corroboree frog. You might be able to do a little bit of a project on that. We've got a great breeding program going there, or you might be able to do it on the Regent honeyeater, marine turtles, loads of other things. Get onto the Taronga Zoo website and have a look for that. I think we've got a question from, is it Canley Heights? Just confirm that for me. Okay, we've got a question from, I think it's Conley Heights I'm getting there at school. Let me just check the name of that. How long will the leopard protect? Conley Heights. Okay, thank you so much. Sorry, I just had a bit of a break-up in my earpiece. Thanks, Rebecca. I do apologise. So I'm talking to Rebecca. I'm getting messages from her in my earpiece about all your wonderful questions coming through, and it just broke up a little bit as I got that name. Conley Heights, fantastic to have you on board. How long will the leopard look after its food? Well, it gets to a point, there's still a lot of food up there, and she will protect that food, but she's also very, very clever. She will stay up there. She might have a little bit more of a meal on that, but now that this hyena's here, their patience is extraordinary. Their patience, they'll just wait and wait and wait. She might decide to, when she gets the opportunity, get down and leave that and take her cubs and go away, and then the hyena might just wait around for that. So we don't really know, but that's the fantastic thing about the bush. We'll just find out as we sit here and watch. Little leopard cub's put his head up there. He's just watching. And this one's name is Hasana? No, Shongile. I always get them mixed up. There's a boy and a girl. And this is Shongile. Gorgeous, 7 months old, born on 2nd of February. Jessica from CM Public School. Fantastic to have you on board. Great stuff. What's my favourite animal? Goodness, that's a hard question to answer. We get asked that question a lot, and you know what? I have to give an answer that I love them all, but I really do love leopard. I love giraffe as well, one of my favourite animals, and we've got loads of those at Taronga Zoo and Western Plains Zoo out in Dubbo. Giraffe are one of my favourite creatures, and we haven't seen them a lot the last couple of days, but I'm going to try and search for some. I really love elephant as well, and I love lion. I love African wild dog. I love everything, but giraffe and leopard are two of my absolute favourites. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We're just going to have a little look at that hyena again. So really, I'd say it one more time. I want you to go away and see if you want to do a project on hyenas and find out a little bit more about hyenas, because I think there's a lot of stories you hear about hyenas and you see them in movies. You might have seen them on cartoons or some movies that have made hyenas out to be the bad guys. They're definitely not the bad guys. They are such fantastic creatures, incredibly interesting. They've got really, really interesting facts about them that I think you should do a project on at school and maybe look into a little bit more and learn that hyenas fit into the ecosystem perfectly, just like all the other animals do. So the interesting thing for me, guys, is I'm going to tell you now, we've only got about 2 minutes to go, I think, and I just want to just finish up by saying to you how important it is that you, all of you watching right now, are our little special agents. You are our agents. You are our little soldiers in the army of conservation. And you are the ones that are going to keep this planet as it is, or you're going to protect this planet, protect all these animals in Australia, in Africa, in Asia, in North America. You are the ones that are going to protect them. And you don't know what the future is going to bring for you. And if you really want to work with animals or wildlife or conservation, you know what? You've got to follow your heart. You've got to follow your dreams. That's what I did. And when I was at school, I really wanted to be a zookeeper. I really wanted to do what I'm doing now, and I followed my dream. So you can do it. I'm nothing special. I'm just a normal person. Gendre, normal person, but all the other guys, Brent and James, all normal people, but we just followed our dream, and that's what we want to do. And you can do it too. That's the really important thing. You've got to follow that dream, and if you want to work with wildlife, you can do it. Just wanted to let you know that what you're doing right now, and all your teachers, I tell you what, your teachers have to have another round of applause. So I want you to all give a big cheer for your teachers right now and thank them all for doing such a wonderful, wonderful job. I'm going to round off and say goodbye. Gendre says goodbye. You'll probably see his thumb come round in a minute. And I want to say thank you so much to Taronga Zoo Education Department and Taronga Conservation Society for allowing us to do this in collaboration with Wild Earth. Here we are on Safari Live from Africa, right into your classroom, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you. Let's finish off by looking at this little cub. We'll see you tomorrow if you're with us again. Have a great one, guys. Okay, guys, thank you very much, everyone else that was watching. We've signed off with our schools in Australia, which is brilliant, and what a great thing. Karula's just coming down. Karula's just coming down the tree. I'm not in a very good position here, guys, but I don't dare move. She's come down the tree. I can't really move. The hyena has stayed exactly where it is. We've just got Karula through there. Very interesting here. So the hyena is staying exactly where it is. And it's laid back down. This is quite incredible. Normally you would see that hyena hop up and take the opportunity to scare that leopard off. But Karula is just out of shot at the moment. Just in there you can see her. And as I said, I don't really want to move the vehicle or start the vehicle, folks, so I know you understand. I just want to watch this behaviour with you. Picking up scent. You always see when those animals, they, particularly hyena, put their head in the air like that. Thing we saw before. We saw that hyena come down underneath the tree where Karula was, and that hyena is limping, is very, very lame on its back right leg. So we don't know what happened last night. We don't know whether there was a skirmish between those guys or whether it was an existing injury. But the thing that I am a little bit concerned about is I can only find one cub. But There's a good chance that the other little cub is holed up somewhere. We will cross over to James, and whilst we're looking for this other cub, we'll see what James is up to. I think he's got something quite special. We'll see you just now. A very interesting situation. Look at that. You don't get that very often. I'll just get out of your way. We've got Karula has just come down the tree and is lying only about probably 3, 4 metres, 5 metres away from the hyena. That is quite incredible. Hyena didn't even flinch when Karula came down, but Karula has chosen to stay there as well. Now, I'm sure many of you are concerned about Hasana, the other cub. We did just see a little remnant of a tail on the other side there, so both cubs are fine. All good, and I know that many of you would have been concerned, but everything is good there, and we're just now watching. So the cubs are well off. They're probably about 30, 40 metres away. Gendre's just going to try and find him over there in the tree. It's a very tricky spot we're in, where, as we said yesterday, you can just see some spots there, just to the right of the trunk of that tree. There's some spots on the ground, and that's where Hasana is, and Shongile is down below, who we had just down to the right down there. Gendre's doing an amazing job this morning, looking through all this dense vegetation. But we're in a trick. There you go. There's a little bit of movement there. So that's Shongile, and then Hasana is up on the other side there. So the cubbies are fine. Excuse me, please. But I'm more mystified by this incredible behaviour that we've got. So look how quietly Shongile is moving. Very, very quietly. I don't know whether he's coming down. He's going down into the drainage line. We're going to lose sight of him in a second. But his mum is standing there, or lying there. That is for sure, with every sense of hers on full alert at the moment. We could see some quite incredible behaviour here. It is absolutely incredible, folks. We're getting lots of people commenting on this incredible behaviour that we're watching at the moment. I totally agree with everyone. I mean, normally what we see, folks, don't we? We see the hyena charge the leopard as soon as it comes out of the tree and chase it off, or the leopard just come down the tree and run. But Karula has chosen to sit there. Hyena's now stood up. Incredibly keen sense of hearing. Extraordinary behaviour. Karula watching the hyena's every move. Definitely got a bad limp on that right hind leg. Got a question from Michael, wondering his question, and welcome aboard, Michael. Fantastic to have you with us, watching this incredible behaviour right here. Is Karula more relaxed now because she knows that the hyena is injured? Well, I would love to be able to say that I know that, Michael, but at a guess, we don't know what happened last night. We don't know whether Karula is responsible for that injury or whether it was an existing injury. So there is a possibility that Karula is intuitive enough to pick that up, or whether Karula did have an interaction with that hyena last night and is the one that's responsible, and she does know that. I really can't say that I could know either way, Michael, but it's a very interesting perception, and I did think of it myself before. She's definitely relaxed around this, and the interesting thing is the cubs also are at that age, 7 months of age. They're fast, they're agile, they can ascend trees very, very quickly. They're alert, they're in a really good place. I would be really concerned if we were looking at 2-month-olds or something like that, but then again, they probably wouldn't be out and as exposed as they are. But Karula is super chilled. Well, we're perceiving that she's super chilled, but she's definitely not looking that stressed about anything. But sometimes, you know what, I've been walking in Pielanesberg National Park with a wonderful guide out there years and years back, and we went walking, and there was a couple of different species of antelope. And you know what, they would see us and they would actually end up following us, in a sense, to keep us in vision. And sometimes animals will like to keep another animal in its sights rather than running off and not knowing where that animal is. So I think Karula is in a good spot here. She knows where that hyena is. She knows where her cubs are. And, you know, sometimes animals do incredible things where, as opposed to running away, and you see it a lot with predators around waterholes, you'll find the whole herd of zebras or impala or whatever would rather keep an eye on the predator rather than just taking off and then not knowing where it is, because that's the time when you're better to know where your enemy is rather than be guessing. Yeah, it was really interesting to find those antelope would always keep us in their sights when we were walking through the bush. But yeah, that hyena's not looking 100%, I have to say. Might come through it, but quite an incredible thing to see a hyena lying down, resting, Karula lying down on the ground, resting, the cubs completely fine as well, and the kill still up the tree. Really incredible thing to see this morning. It still is quite an astonishing sort of behaviour when you do see a leopard that is, well, a big adult leopard male is heavier than a striped hyena, a brown hyena, probably equal sometimes to a spotted hyena, but they will run always from hyena. They will fight, you know, when it comes to protecting their young, and there'll be battles and those sorts of things, but it does still mystify a lot of people why these animals will actually run from hyena when they're incredibly powerful. But they've definitely done it right for themselves. Okay, so whilst we're here, everything's settled, everything's quiet. We're going to stick with Karula and the hyena and the cubs. I'm going to cross over to James and see how he's going with those beautiful big beasts, if he's still with them, or if he's found something else for it. Karula has come down from the tree with her kill, remnants of her kill still up that tree, and now she's come down the tree and lying at the base of the tree, whilst a hyena, an adult hyena, is only about 5 to 7 metres away from her up the hill. It's quite an incredible thing to see. You don't see this very often. And just to give you an update, if you've just joined us, we're sitting here with leopard and hyena, and I've got lion on my brain because I know the guys are on an incredibly exciting little encounter with lion, Brent on foot, and oh goodness me, it's all happening this morning, folks. And you've got a little bit of interaction. No, okay, we're going to cross over to, I'm not sure who it is, but we've got something very exciting happens, and we just have to sometimes do those little jump cuts to the really exciting stuff. But just as exciting on a different level, this unusual behaviour right back here with Karula, this famous leopard, really sound asleep there. Obviously her senses are all very alert, but looking like she's resting peacefully there, and only 7 metres away from her, 8 metres, about 20, just over 20 feet away from her, is a hyena, an adult hyena, doing the same thing as her. Incredible stuff. Over to my right, and probably about 50 feet away from me, is, I don't know if Chandre's going to be able to, he's going to have a crack at trying to see Shongile in there somewhere. There's a little spot you can just see, very, very difficult. Oh, it's so difficult to see, but Shongile is there, and Hosanna is up a little bit to the left of our frame there. So we have a very interesting situation here. Flat cat, flat hyena, flat cubs. I think it sounds like the complete opposite to what's going on around Brent, Leo, Smith and James at the moment. Isn't it fantastic that we can just be around these animals in such a peaceful way? It's just incredible. So habituated. Sean's got a question and wants to know when leopards make their first kill. Well, it would be really interesting, Sean, that we saw yesterday, Jandre and I felt like we were at leopard school because we watched Karula teaching her cubs how to climb up a tree and feed from the kill that she'd put up there. It was absolutely obvious that this is what she was doing. She had the kill in this little dry creek bed or drainage line yesterday, and she kept on covering that kill up with sand and dirt and leaves to keep the scent down from our special friends, the hyenas here. And she did that successfully for over 24 hours, probably 36. And the cubs came and fed back and forth, back and forth. When she knew the time to hoist it up the tree or to take it up there, haul it up, we don't know, and we don't know what the trigger was, but she did it. And then she moved back over and covered up the scent that was left there on the ground. And then both the cubs took turns to ascend the tree, feed on the carcass up the tree, and descend the tree. Then the other one went up. It was just incredible to watch. So she'll be constantly teaching them. I think by the time they get to probably a year, they'll be starting to assist potentially. She may hold on to a kill and allow them to come in and finish it off. There's lots of different external contributing factors to that. The pressure of maybe a hyena being very close by might change things, but she will gradually start to let them take over and teach them. And then, 12 months to 15 months, when they start to move off from her, they will have to be independent, and they will start on smaller, easier prey, and then they'll start to move up to the bigger prey animals. But it's a whole learning curve. They're picking up incredible skills from their mum at the moment, and she's just looking up at us now. She's a great, great mother. Just got another question from Spencer, and Spencer wants to know if hyenas are always aggressive towards hyenas. Well, they definitely are. The relationships between predators are quite intricate, but hyenas rank just above cheetah in the pecking order, but we still don't know why leopards allow hyena to really take their kills and push them off kills as much as they do. And they do get quite unnerved by hyena, that's for sure. Hyenas are certainly more powerful and dangerous than leopards, but the leopard can, weight for weight, be very similar. So yeah, hyenas definitely will take any opportunity and advantage of a leopard on a kill, and they definitely will have interactions that can be sometimes fatal. But it's a really interesting thing to always see different behaviours like we are right now. And no matter what books say, and when you do study these animals, there's always exceptions to the rule, exactly like what we're seeing right now. Two eternal enemies, only about 20 feet from each other, both sleeping. Quite incredible. Thanks for your question, mate. When you do see a leopard lying like this on its side, you get such a beautiful, beautiful display of how that magical coat pattern is and that beautiful camouflage. But whilst we're with this flat Karula cat and the flat hyena, we might cross over to James and just get an update from him, because there's got to be something interesting going on over there too. We'll be back with you just now. Well, we've just seen Hasana come down from his little hidey hole and lay really close. He's equidistant to his mum as she is to the hyena at the moment, and he's got a very, very close eye on the hyena. Shongile is still lying down, probably the same distance again away, so twice as far away. And everyone is very relaxed. The cubs are keeping their eyes on the hyena, but Karula is definitely just lying there watching the hyena whilst the hyena watches her. It's quite incredible to see this morning, folks. And just to go back on to the question that we got asked beforehand about when do the leopard cubs start to kill for themselves. I was sort of talking about the larger prey there, but Gendre gave me some info there, which is always fantastic to glean as much information we can from each other and also from you. All of you watching know these leopards intimately. So always you can help me out with information that I might not be up to date on. But Gendre just gave me a great bit of information that they did witness Hasana take a little scrub hare when he was about 5 months old. So you just like kittens, as Gendre was saying, just like kittens, they start to experiment. They'll start to chase birds and experiment and start to hone their skills in hunting, and then they'll move on to bigger and bigger prey. So really, really great to know that they're doing so well. 7 months of age, born on the 2nd of February, these two, and wow, it looks like a very confident mother and cubs at the moment in the presence of, as I always say, one of their eternal enemies, the hyena, just lying up on the bank. But I love how camouflaged he is through there. You can hardly see him. There's little spots just on his ears there. There's little black ears. He's just having a bit of a sniff of the air at the moment. Very difficult to see. But we're not going to move. You can just see the black tip of that ear. And very tricky to see. And that is a fantastic thing. Look at that. That was a great little pull focus there that Gendre did to show you how difficult it is to see through any vegetation, this magical camouflage that they have. I mentioned it yesterday, but I'll just mention it again, how tiny these guys are when they're born. Only anywhere from about sort of 14, 15 to 20 ounces in weight, which is about, Gendry knows that I'm not fantastic with my conversions, but around sort of 600 grams for people that are working in metric, 400 to 600 grams. It's about 2 to 3 oranges in your hand, and that's what they weigh when they're born. But now they're getting up there. They're getting great size and great strength, and honing those wonderful life skills. That's going to make them continue into big leopards into the future. I've got a question from Justin S. And is it a good thing to show compassion for an injured animal in the bush? I mean, look, we as human beings, we have a tendency to always put human-like qualities onto animals, and we will always, show compassion in the sense that you do feel sorry for an animal when it's injured or it's suffering. Of course, it's a really hard thing to watch sometimes, but it is the natural world and it's happening perfectly. So we do see all different types of injuries, all different types of situations occurring with different species that we have to just let nature take its course. We really do, and that's the way forward. I suppose when we've got an injury as a human, you've got a bit of a limp, you feel sorry for your mate or your sister or your wife or your kid or whatever it may be. But you know what, we get through it, and animals get through it sometimes as well. It's just sometimes the injuries can be have a detrimental effect on their existence, particularly when it comes to hunting. And we have it pretty easy as humans. We can go to the doctor, we can rest up, we can have our friends or family bring us food or look after us. Whereas in the wild, it's pretty tough out there. And as I said, some animals come back from it, and some animals don't. But that is just absolutely how it's meant to happen. And nature does get that exactly right. Great question, mate. Thank you very, very much for watching. So Shongile and Hasana are now together, and Hasana has just gone over and laid with his sister. And he's the bigger of the two. I always get them mixed up, folks, because this is the first time I've met these two. But luckily I've got the wonderful Gendry on the back there to point out which one's which for me. Hasana is on the left and Shongile is on the right. Hasana is a male and a little bit bigger than his sister. But how cool are they? How beautiful are they? Without all the facts and the figures and the weights, it's just sometimes beautiful to sit with these animals and look at their complete perfection. So just whilst we're watching the cubs there, lying down and just resting, and they're getting a little bit restless. They're wondering, they really want to come up to their mum and see their mum, I think, but they know that they can't take that chance. Karula is just raising her head at the moment and looking around a little bit. And the cubs are definitely getting a little restless, but the hyena is still asleep. Incredible to see this behaviour this morning. So many of the books say that the females will start to stop breeding around 16-ish, 16 years of age. There's all different types of statistics on that, but Karula is 12, so she's still got a fair few years left in her, and they will probably breed 1 to 3 young in those sort of 2-year intervals. But she's an incredible mother. So what we might do is we'll stay here. We are definitely going to stay right here and stick with these guys, and we'll cross over to James and see what he's up to on this incredible line tracking. And I don't know what they're up to, but I'm sure it's going to be exciting. We'll see you just now. Full Queen of Djuma. Yep, she's rolled over. She's repositioned herself. It's just the most extraordinary bit of behaviour we're watching this morning. One of her eternal enemies, or leopard's eternal enemies, as I've used the term many times before, the hyena, always associated with, eventually associated with a leopard and its kill. And you've got Karula lying down about 20-25 feet away from her, completely stretched. We don't know. The hyena had no intention of getting up and running towards Karula as she came down out of the tree, and Karula had no intention of going any closer to her. So it's not... Look, we sat here with Taxon from Djuma, an amazing guide, and Andrew from Cheetah Plains a second ago, and they both said that they'd never seen this before in all their time here in the bush. Excuse me. So it is quite an extraordinary encounter this morning. It might look a little bit quiet, but it is still wonderful to sit with. And I don't think... We just moved off before because we wanted to make sure that other people had the opportunity to come and see this as well. And we've just come back now. The morning sun is starting to break through the cloud, and we are still sitting here with Karula and this hyena. Now the cubs are well away from here, probably twice the distance away from the hyena, lying down in a safe spot with quite a good vantage point where they can see the hyena, but there's just no movement at the moment. Everyone's relaxed. It will change, of course it will change, and that's why we want to sit around here and wait, but obviously having manners for other people that would like to come and see this as well. So, really interesting behaviour this morning. Yesterday, just to give you the bit of the backstory, firstly, let me say this. If you are a new viewer to Safari Live, welcome. It's great to have you on board, and obviously for our regular Safarians, brilliant to have you always. Yesterday we went to leopard school. Down in this drainage line that Gendre's panning around to see down there. It doesn't really look much, but just down to the left of Karula was a carcass. Now it's in the tree, right up in this tree that we're panning up to now. It's just hanging in there. It's a little bit tricky to see, but that's the remnants of the impala up there. Now, she hauled it up the tree, and that was pretty fantastic to watch as well, always, the strength of a leopard hauling a carcass up a tree. And then she placed it, she really wedged it into this tambuti tree and got it in there so it wasn't going to fall out. And as she helped down, she went back over to where the carcass was, and she started to cover up the scent of that carcass, the position that it was in. And she was really obviously doing that, covering the area with leaves and dirt to hide that scent and give her a little extra time for her cubs to get up into that tree safely. And then we watched Hasana, the male, climb up the tree and start to eat the carcass. He had his fill. He went down. Shongile then carried on up and had her turn, and then they both came down, and we left them just on dusk to make sure we got out of there at a good time for them, for their safety. And they gave us an incredible afternoon. So we went to leopard school yesterday, which was brilliant. And now we've come back today to this extraordinary situation where we came and arrived, we saw the hyena, and we then saw Karula descend from the tree lie down at the base of the tree. The hyena did not even flinch, and that's where we are at now, folks. I think we've got a question from, is it Christy? Just let me confirm the name. We just got another vehicle arriving. Okay, we've just got another vehicle arriving to enjoy this sighting with us, folks. Carol Christie has just asked us why the hyena is not calling its family. Well, hyenas sometimes will live a bit of a solitary time. We don't know what the situation or what the social situation for this particular hyena is. Sometimes they can roam the bush in a solitary fashion for quite some time and then come up, join a clan or go back to their clan. Very, very loose movements. We're not sure if it's a male or female. Jandre, you think it's potentially a female, do you? So we're not really sure, but if it is a female, we don't know where she is in her life, in her social structure. So she may have picked up this scent. We've had a regular group or clan of hyena here for some time, and they moved off, Jandre, how long ago? About a month ago, Jandre is telling me they moved back or moved away. But we have sort of transient individuals come through, and that's probably what we think is happening here. So whilst we've got this flat cat and the flat hyena and the cubs, we're going to cross back over to Brent and get a bit of an update. We'll see you just now. Really apologise about that signal loss, everyone. As most of you, your regular safarians, you know that we do come across that now and again for new time safarians on Safari Live. We do get a little bit of a signal drop out now and again when we get into these little dips, and particularly on bushwalk, so I do apologise, and thank you for your patience on that. We have been with these guys for a few hours now. We've moved in and out to let other people come in. But the most extraordinary hyena-leopard interaction that I've seen in a long time. We've asked a lot of the guides that have come through here, and people, Jandre, he's mentioned as well, never seen it before. The relaxed nature of Karula the leopard with this hyena, only 20 feet from each other. She has just moved down into the drainage line just below us here. It's a very tricky bit of country for us to film in, but it's still fantastic to be around and to show you. Lots of difficult spots for Jandre to get good pictures, but you know, he's done an amazing job to pull this together this morning, where the location we're in. She just moved down out of the sunshine when it was out and laid down in a cooler spot, but she's asleep down there, and only about 20 feet above her on the bank is a hyena that was sitting underneath the tree with her this morning, waiting for her to drop part of the carcass out of the tree. Meanwhile, her cubs are about, probably twice that distance again away from her and the hyena, and they were making their move up to their mum, but they still haven't quite got the confidence to go up to her at the moment, being quite wary that they don't want the hyena to see them or detect them. So they're really keen to get to their mum, but they can't actually do it at the moment. So they've been lying out, keeping a close eye over what's going on, and it's been great for us to see it. But sheer brilliance in her raising of these cubs and what she's done with them. And I'd just like to give a big shout out as well from all of us here at Safari Live for South African Women's Day today. Karula is an amazing female. She's done amazing things in her 12 years on the planet, and I'm sure there's an incredible amount of amazing women here in South Africa today celebrating that National Day. So big hats off to you, and a big shout out from all of us here at Safari Live. We've had this situation this morning. The cubs have been looking fantastic, and Jandre's got these beautiful pictures, and then just as we've come back to you, the cubs have walked off. And that's what's great about filming wildlife. You know, you just can't predict these things. When you get easy shots, it's easy, but when you don't, you've really got to work for it. And we've still got a beautiful picture here of Karula chilled out down there. I might just roll and start up and just show you the proximity of Karula, the hyena, just to finish on. And we're just getting a little bit of a tricky spot here, so we'll just manoeuvre. Bit of a bump coming up, folks, so hold on. Now, if Chandra can, maybe, is that good enough for you, mate? Can't really see Karula that well, but she is lying down there in the drainage line behind that vegetation. And then just above, up the hill from her, is the hyena. See there at the top of the screen? How incredible is that? Both asleep, both only 20 feet, 6-7 meters away from each other. And we've had an incredible time seeing them this morning. We thought that there was a bit more action going to happen, but at the same time, excuse me, I'm glad not too much action's happening. Oh, look what I've just spotted now. Hold on, folks. Just hold on. Come on. Little trick. Base of the tree, and I think the other one's going to come up and try and chase it now. So they're getting a little bit active just at the base of the tree there, sticking his head around the tree. I think you can see him there, just there. I think his sister went up the tree, and it's really tricky to see, folks, because it's so thick in there. But we do see two beautiful, healthy cubs. And I just want to thank you all for watching this morning and watching these beautiful interactions, and from all of the guys and the whole team, everyone in Final Control. Here she goes. Is it she? I can't quite see who's who. It's her going up the tree. It's really difficult, but they are both playing in the tree there. I just want to thank everyone for being with us this morning, and particularly the first hour, which we were doing a school special to just under 1,000 children in schools in New South Wales, Australia, which was a brilliant thing in collaboration with Taronga Zoo, where I'm working now. Folks, thank you very, very much for being with us. We look forward to having you on board this afternoon with us at the same time for our afternoon, our sunset drive.